The midday sun cast its golden glow upon the hills of Galilee as Jesus descended from the mountainside. The crowd, thick with anticipation, followed closely behind. Whispers of his miracles had spread like wildfire, how he had healed the sick, restored sight to the blind, and even commanded unclean spirits to flee. Among those who had heard these tales was a man whose existence had been reduced to the shadows, a man whom society had cast aside as a leper. His name was unknown, his story buried beneath years of isolation. The disease had robbed him of everything: his home, his family, his dignity. His skin, marred with sores and decay, was a testament to his suffering. The law deemed him unclean, and the world treated him as cursed, forcing him to dwell in the outskirts, away from the touch of another human being. Yet, on this day, hope burned within him. The leper had heard of Jesus, the rabbi whose hands had the power to restore what was lost. If he could command demons and sickness to flee, could he also cleanse one such as him? The thought was audacious, even dangerous, for lepers were forbidden from approaching the clean, yet desperation silenced his doubts. This was his moment, perhaps his only chance. With trembling steps, he broke through the crowd. Gasps erupted as people recoiled in horror, shielding themselves from contamination. Mothers clutched their children. Men stepped back, their faces twisted in disgust. The path cleared before him as he fell to his knees before Jesus. "Lord," he pleaded, his voice raw with emotion, "if you are willing, you can make me clean." It was not a demand. It was not a test. It was a statement of faith, simple, desperate, and true. The world held its breath. Jesus looked upon the man, not with fear, nor with disgust, but with compassion. The law forbade touching the unclean, but love was greater than law. Without hesitation, Jesus reached out his hand and touched him. A touch, a gasp rippled through the onlookers. It was forbidden. It was reckless. It was divine. Then came the words that shattered the chains of affliction. "I am willing. Be clean." At once the change began. The sores vanished, the skin restored, smooth as it once was. The decay retreated, strength returning to frail limbs. Life surged back into the man's body like a river after drought. The leper was no more. He was whole again. A murmur of awe swept through the crowd. The man, still on his knees, looked at his hands, at his arms, at his very being. Clean. His lips trembled as he tried to speak, but only tears of joy spilled down his cheeks. Jesus, ever mindful of the law, instructed him, "See that you tell no one, but go. Show yourself to the priest, and offer the gift Moses commanded as a testimony to them." It was a directive of obedience, a sign that his restoration was not only physical, but also spiritual, allowing him to be accepted back into society. Yet how could such a miracle remain a secret? His feet carried him, not to silence but to proclamation. He ran through the streets, his voice ringing with uncontrollable joy, declaring to all who would listen what Jesus had done for him. The news spread like wildfire, drawing even greater crowds to Jesus, so much so that he could no longer openly enter towns without being surrounded. He withdrew to desolate places, but still, the people sought him, yearning for the touch that healed, for the words that restored. And so the leper who had once been cast away became a messenger of hope, his story forever woven into the tapestry of faith. For where the world saw filth, Jesus saw worth. Where men refused to touch, Jesus embraced. And where sickness ruled, Jesus made all things new.